What's up, everybody? It's Tiffany Stone alongside Phil Blurton. Now, Phil, it's always great to chat, especially here at King of the Hammers. You brought two different cars over here. Walk me through a little bit about the differences of both of them.
Yeah, both Maverick R chassis, the exact same drivetrain in both of them. We really just take everything on the rock car and we try to drop it down and get like good visibility out of it. And then we take all the suspension components, so we run a higher clearance A-arm on it than we do like in the desert car. The radius rods in the back are really arched up. We run no front sway bar in the rock car, which is a little bit sketchy in the desert because it wants to teeter a little bit more, but in the rocks it's so much more free. Obviously a winch on the rock car, which we don't run in the desert car, but really like kind of crazy. Same platform, same 35-inch BFG, same Vision wheels on them. Yeah, it's visibility in the rocks. In the desert I want everything like up high so I can like feel like I'm really in the cockpit, and in the rocks I want everything down low so I can see.
Well, talking about that, we know a lot of wheelers out there. 35s are kind of small in the wheeling world, you know, the rock crawling world. Usually it's a 37, some go up to 40s, 42s. With the 35s and you saying it's a little bit different for the rocks, how's that kind of feel? Because your placement on the rocks has to be kind of perfect, or you're either going to high center yourself, you're going to get a flat in the front, which we did see a lot today in the rocks. A lot of people are getting flats.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, for us, like UTV world, we raced on 32s forever.
Okay.
So now we're finally on 35s. We're like, oh, we got a big tire. Can-Am's new design with this tall knuckle design here, you can see we're limited to a 35-inch tire on this car. That's another thing too, is BFG makes a little different compound for me for in the rocks. So these tires wear out a lot quicker, but they get a lot more grip in the rocks. But yeah, like for us, the 35, we're like, oh sweet, we got a big tire. But you put it next to a 4400 car or something, it's real small.
It's small. And talk to me a little bit about the rock section, because we always see the desert loop, and when we're here at King of the Hammers, especially for the 4900 class, what we ran today, you got to build a car that's fast enough in the desert, but like you said, can handle those rocks. So really, is it a 50-50 split? Is it a 60-40 split? Like, what do you really push a little bit more towards?
This car, surprisingly enough, is just as fast as my desert car in the desert. It's the exact same shock package. So when I'm driving it through like the big bumps, it feels the same. Like I got done driving this time, like I think I'm gonna race this car at San Felipe. That's how good it was in the desert. But yeah, the rocks this year for us, like they put all these RCPs everywhere. So it was like, we always go and kind of run these little dirt banks. We go up the trails, but we're taking these little bypasses. And today we had to get in all the gnarly stuff. And
changing your drive style, how did that really, I guess the game plan, because we usually have remote pit 1, remote pit 2, and you have main.
Yeah.
But this year we only had what is known as remote pit 2 way over there, and it was 50 miles into your first loop. You could hit it before you went into the rocks and then when you came out of that. So how does that change pit strategy?
Yeah, I mean, that pit out there, honestly, it's not a good one. You don't want to pull in that pit because you can bypass it at full speed. If you go in there, you have to go all the way down and all the way back out at 25. So you want to do all your pitting at main pit, so that's where we did.
And we talk about that all the time because pit strategy is so important because you never know what's going to happen. I always joke with everybody, because I'm usually at remote pit, if you see me and I have a chance to talk to you, then you're not necessarily having a great day, and you don't want that at all. And talking about the rock section too, Dave said he wanted to make it hard. All the top drivers that came through, the top 10 at least, said this was the hardest one that they've ever made, and it was one of the grueling ones because you had those RCPs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this was the best Hammers course I've ever raced before. I came from a rock crawling background. I used to do like in buggies, we'd do competition like through the cones and everything. So I enjoy rock crawling, and it was finally like they forced us to like really be like, who's a good rock crawler, who's a good desert racer, and can we combine that?
Well, let's talk a little bit about your day. You're strong, everything happened, and we had some miscalculations. What exactly went wrong right there?
Yeah, I mean, really what it came down to was the X3 platform. Like I have so many miles in that I know exactly what my fuel mileage is. These cars, last year I did 20,000 miles in Baja in a Maverick car, but I did 0 miles in the rocks. So 3 days ago was my first time ever driving in the rocks in a Maverick car, which is kind of crazy for me because normally we spend a ton of time down here, but Mexico just ate up my year. So I didn't realize how much fuel we're burning in the rocks. We went from like, a 5 mile an hour average was the worst we've ever got to a 3 mile an hour average today. We did a little reprogramming on our aim last night, which is the data logger in the car, and it normally shows me fuel burn. Well, I restarted it on the start line and it never calculated my fuel burn. So normally I can see it, and I could be like, hey, I'm gonna pull on this pit and I'm gonna take some more fuel. And it was just like a sequence of events that just led up to like 4 miles from the finish line, we ran out of fuel.
Well, we always talk about either you take the win you do a wreckers or checkers, or you have a really cool story. And that story, watching you guys come down, I know you did the bypass through backdoor, so you're coming through Resolution, coming through the bypass of backdoor. And talk to me about that, because that was just like a very, I don't want to say great story, but it was a story that really warmed everybody's heart. It shows sportsmanship. So talk to me a little bit about how that came to play.
Yeah, so we had to hike 4 miles back to the pit to get fuel, and then hike 4 miles back out, so an 8-mile hike. My buddy Hunter Miller, that's in a Maverick car as well, a Can-Am teammate, we have Starlinks on all these cars now, so he calls me, hey man, I saw you hiking with fuel. Can you spare 1 gallon for me? I just ran out, I'm gonna pass you. So we dump 3 gallons in this car, go up, fill him up with a gallon. Well, he's got 2 broken axles. I'm like, there's no way you're gonna make it through these trails. So I'm like, we're not gonna win.
Yeah.
So let's both get across the finish line. So we hooked him on the strap and tugged him through all the hard stuff.
And I don't know if you heard this on the live stream, but Hunter was like, when we saw Phil that he ran out of fuel, we chuckled a little bit as we passed him, and then they're like, man, we shouldn't have chuckled at him, because as soon as that happened, they ran out of fuel too. But it's cool to see the Can-Am team come together.
Yeah.
I love that. One last thing before I let you go, really, what makes you come back to Hammers every single year, especially with great partners like Vision Wheel?
Yeah, obviously Hammers is cool. You have everybody from all aspects. You got the short course racers from back east, you got the rock bouncers, you got the desert guys, everybody in one spot. So if you want to prove yourself, Hammers is the place to do it. And I've won almost every single race out there.
Yeah.
I've never won the Mint 400, and I've never won King of the Hammers. I've been second at both of them a handful of times, so I'm going to keep coming back till I win one.
Well, Mint 400 coming up in a little bit. Can we expect to see you there?
I believe so.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much, Phil. It's really great to talk to you. If you ever want to look at a person that knows sportsmanship, that knows what the rocks are about, that knows what the desert about, Phil Blurton, you are that man. I love seeing this, and thank you so much for your time.